It just ticks so many boxes for us to live here in Singapore that if I was able to say something to myself back then, it would be take time to enjoy what Singapore has to offer. Don't just restrict yourself to your comfort zone, but step out of your comfort zone. Singapore has so much to offer. Hi, my name is Neville Beston. I'm 66 years old, originally from Australia. Been living in Singapore for 17 years. I grew up in rural New South Wales, just to the west of Sydney. Most of my childhood was running around farms, chasing sheep, climbing trees, the things like a young boy would do. Family moved to a town called Newcastle. I did my high school education, went to university, studied science, became a geologist. From there, worked. If I compare my childhood to my living now in Singapore, it's very, very, very different. Australia is a very wide open country, wide open spaces. Singapore is very cosmopolitan, it's a city. Most people live in apartments. I mean, we're fortunate we have lovely parks here in Singapore, so I can still escape to the outdoors, different living in an apartment. I've always had a desire to travel. That being a geologist, it allowed me to get into the oil and gas industry. And so when the opportunity came up to work for an international company, multinational company, that gave me the opportunity to move and live around the world, I just jumped at it. Every 3 or 4 years, you move to a new country, a new job. So I did that for some 30, 40 years. My first country I got assigned to is actually in Brunei. That's where I met my wife. She's Bruneian Chinese. And so she embarked with me on this global adventure that we had working in different countries. When we originally were assigned and posted to Singapore, we thought it was only for 3 or 4 years. But the opportunity came up towards the end of my assignment here in Singapore to basically take early retirement. Our daughter was still in high school, so we thought it's good to stay on in Singapore and let her finish her high school. At that time, we thought we were going to retire back to Australia, but the longer that we stayed in Singapore, the longer we enjoyed it here. Why should we move back to Australia when we enjoy life so much here in Singapore? But having lived in different countries around the world during my career, we've seen lots of different cultures, from the Middle East, Asian cultures, European cultures. And one of the things that I think attracted us to Singapore was the culture here. And that goes into not just the people, but the food, the way of life here, climate even. During the first 3 or 4 years here in Singapore, I was working on a work visa for the company. And so I was very much involved with my career. When I retired, I still did some part-time work, but it did allow me the opportunity to actually get more involved in the community. We moved from sort of like more inner city out to basically the heartland, and we chose to live in the West Coast area. I've been involved with the local condominium council, have been involved with them for more than 10 years now, on and off. And it was through that involvement with the management council, allowed opportunities to get more involved with the wider community. So even beyond the condominium, where I was able to get involved with the community centre and any events and things that they put on. I was visiting the CC one day and I saw some people playing pickleball, and I thought, well, what are they doing? This is not badminton. What are they doing? So I watched, and one of the people who was playing invited me to try. So I got involved and I enjoyed it. From that, I developed a love for the game. I made a lot more friends as well. Hi, I'm here today to play pickleball. I come to the CC every Thursday morning, and we play from 10:30 to 12:30. There's a large group of us. Get a chance to socialise, get a chance to do a little bit of exercise, and it's great fun. Here I also volunteer at our community library. There's storytelling, there's all sorts of activities and whatever, and it's a good chance to meet the young kids. They enjoy coming in. It's a great centre for young families. A few years ago now, before COVID time, the community centre decided to put in a community library, and they were looking for people to become storytellers, to read stories to the children on a regular basis. I put my name forward and I was fortunate enough to be selected. I started involved with the library. Unfortunately, COVID hit and that stopped a lot of what our activities are. But now coming out of COVID, things are getting back to normal. Storytelling is starting back up again. We're very fortunate where we live that we only live 5 minutes away from the local community centre and also from the local hawker centre. Now, retirement for us is very good in Singapore. I think one of the things that we enjoy about living in Singapore and living where we do is the parks. My wife and I enjoy very much taking walks in the park. Most people in Singapore live very close or nearby to a park, and I think that's one of the great things that Singapore can offer the people that live here. And it certainly does take me back to my childhood, growing up in Australia, running around the great outdoors. So even though I may live in an apartment, I can still get involved with the environment, with nature and whatever. And the thing about the parks here is that they are so well maintained. They're kept clean, the plants are all well looked after, they're fertilised and pruned and everything. And you get to know the people who work in the park as well. You see the same faces walking through the park of a morning. And so, and it might just be a morning hello as you pass. You may not actually need to have a conversation with, but it's that sort of, oh, I know who you are, we live in the same area. It's a nice feeling to be able to meet and see other people, even though you don't have a long conversation with them or you know much about them at all. We meet many friends in the park of a morning on our stroll or do a bit of exercise. And from that, we always invariably finish up in the hawker centre for breakfast. As an expat, you tend to live to some degree within a bubble. Whatever country you go to, you don't really get to experience what a country has to offer, even though you're there for a short time. That changed when we realised that we were staying here longer, that we could actually put down roots, that we could actually get more involved in the community, because that opens up a whole lot of different opportunities that you can get involved in Singapore. Because of that change of mindset, that Singapore was going to be our home, you become more settled and you become in some ways more adventurous. Singapore has so much to offer in terms of not just the food, but the culture, even the art scene. It's so vibrant. So what I would say is open up, get involved, enjoy your time in Singapore, enjoy everything that Singapore has to offer. Dear Singapore, as I sit in my cozy apartment overlooking your vibrant skyline, I am filled with immense gratitude. Although originally from Australia, I now proudly call Singapore my home. I wanted to express my appreciation for all the wonderful aspects of living here and why I have chosen to spend my retirement in this remarkable city-state. The cultural tapestry of Singapore is fascinating. The harmonious coexistence of different ethnicities and religions is a testament to your commitment to multiculturalism. The colourful celebrations of various festivals and the variety of cuisines available are a delight for a foodie like myself. Safety and security make living in Singapore comforting. The low crime rate and efficient law enforcement provide peace and stability. Walking the streets at any hour without worry is especially reassuring in my retirement years. The emphasis on green spaces and nature conservation is something I deeply appreciate. Parks, gardens, nature reserves all offer a serene escape from urban life, allowing me to connect with nature, rejuvenate my soul and my childhood. Lastly, the warmth and friendliness of the people have made my transition seamless. The sense of community and kindness truly make me feel at home. Thank you, Singapore, for providing an unparalleled quality of life enriched with efficiency, safety, cultural diversity, and a deep connection with nature. I look forward to many more years of exploring, learning and living in this extraordinary city. With heartfelt gratitude, Neville Beston.